go. Awesome. All right, now that we can actually hear me, let's start over. So basically, we're going to be talking about custom post types, how to use it, making you can use it to create directory sites, real estate websites, or even just making it easier for your clients to do the content on the site. So there's a lot of different functionalities that you can do with this. And I'm just downloading Elementor Pro right now. So basically, first off, we're going to start by installing the theme. I like to use Astra, so I'm just going to quickly install that theme. You can use any theme that's compatible with Elementor. Even 2019 theme, you can even use that. You don't have to have some special theme. So that's probably all you need to do to install a theme. Any of these themes will work well, but like I said, I'm using Astra. Once we're done, we'll go to plugins, add new. We're going to search for CPT UI. That means custom post type user interface, and it's this one right here by Web Dev Studios. Click install now, and then once that's installed, we're going to click activate. It's going to bring you to this nice welcome screen. We don't need that. And then the custom post type UI allows us to create more post types. So a post type is basically posts, like you see here, pages, things like that. So post is an actual post type, and then underneath of it you create new posts. So and posts are basically like your pages or like your blog post or anything like that. And then that's what we're going to be creating with this custom post type UI plugin. Now there is a way for you guys to do this manually, and it's just with some code on the there's a website, and let me go to the website right now. GenerateWP.com/post type. Basically, it allows you to generate a custom post type, and then all you have to do is copy and paste this code into your child theme functions PHP file, and then you can just make your own post type without having to use a plugin if you're not keen on doing plugins. So basically, the post type key will be like the slug. So basically, if you're doing events, something like event. The description, if you want to do one, a name for the singular, so do event, a plural name, events, and then things like that. You then hit update code. And then, like I said, all you have to do is just copy and paste all of this. And then once you upload your trial theme, stick that in your functions PHP file. And it'll add a new menu item over here. But to make it easier, we're just going to use the CPT UI plugin so that it's just much easier for you to add, edit text, post types and taxonomies and things like that. So this, like I said, allows you to add new post type. So now we need to be able to add custom fields. And yes, there is a native way to do this in WordPress, but again, a lot of people are not tech savvy, so we're going to use a plugin. The plugin is called Advanced Custom Fields. Alright, and it's this one right here, the ACF with the light green background. We're going to install this. And then once this is installed, we're going to click activate. Now there is a pro version of Advanced Custom Fields that comes with extra functionality. So if you go to advancedcustomfields.com, click on the Pro tab, you can see all of the different options we have, like the repeater field, there's a gallery field, flexible content, you can clone different things, have an options page and things like that for like your theme options. If you're familiar with other themes that have theme options, that's what that is. But there's just a lot of stuff that's included with the ACF Pro, and if you want to purchase that, the pricing is right here, $25 or $100. I believe that's Australian dollars, and it's lifetime. So it's lifetime for unlimited sites, $100. You really cannot beat that. I purchased that immediately because I basically use it on every site that has, big functions and things like that. So that's something that's worth investing in for $100, 100 Australian dollars, that is. Okay, so we've got our two plugins right here. I'm going to add Elementor just so we have it. And then I'm going to also install Elementor Pro, just so that's installed as well. Upload the plugin. Let's install Elementor Pro. In the comments below, let me know maybe some of the sites that you're trying to create, and we can come up with some demos during this video, maybe like a real estate site, or if you're doing a directory site. Let me know of some of the sites that you may want to create, and then we can go ahead and create some templates and show you how to work with that. So let me know what you guys are thinking for that. Let me activate Elementor real quick. Off screen. Alright, activated. Alright, so now we're going to get started. So we want to add a new custom post type. So we're going to go to CPTUI, add edit post types. And this one's going to be called event. And then we're going to do the plural for events and the singular for event. All of this information down here. The post type description, you can add one if you want to. The menu name is what's going to appear over here on the left hand side. Natively, it's just going to take whatever you have for the plural. For the all items, you could do all. Now it's going to automatically do these, but if you want something different than what it's going to add automatically, then this is where you would add it right here. So you have all of these different options down here for the wording. And then we have some settings. So if we want to set it public, so this is going to be whether you want it to show in the admin user interface, publicly queryable, if you want them to be able to be parsed using WordPress, things like that. Show the user interface. There is a generate the default user interface for managing this post type. Default is true, so it's basically just going to be the same post user type that you're used to. Show in the nav menus, so under appearance menus, do you want to show it underneath of that? REST API, if you're using for API or apps or anything like that, if you want to be able to use that, you could do true or false. And then you have the slug and then the controller class. If you want it to be able to have an archive, so basically if you want to be able to navigate to the slug, so if you want to make it so that my website cpt.local/event will show all of the archives for that post type. If you want it to be able to do that, you would click this to be true, and then you can set the slug if you want it to be something different than what you set it above. Searching, so if you want this to be excluded from the main WordPress search, then you can just enter it down there. Capability post, this is just going to be a post just so that it's letting people know the capabilities for different users. And then you just have a bunch of other settings down here. The other one that we were going to discuss is the menu icon. So you have a way that you can put the dash icon class, an actual icon image, which should be 20 pixels by 20 pixels, or you can choose your image icon right here by clicking on that and then just uploading an image. For the support section, this is going to be all of your basic post fields, if you would say. So you have the title, which everyone needs to put a post title. The editor, which is where you're going to put the content and things like that. Featured image is like the main image for that post. Excerpt is a short description of the editor. Custom fields, we don't really need anything other than title, editor, and featured image. So let's click add post type. Alright, so we have that, and then underneath of edit post types we have our events post type. Rudy says, can I create or add an additional price fields in the checkout or cart page? Messing with WooCommerce checkouts and carts pages is usually the most difficult task when it comes to WordPress. I'm not sure what you mean by additional price fields in the checkout or the cart page. So if you want to explain that just a little bit more, then maybe I'll be able to understand that. So if you go on the left here inside, you'll see that we have the events. And here is our icon that is default, and then we have our custom post type right here. Now I want to edit this and choose a different icon. So let's choose this one. And you can always just Google dash icons and be able to find out what the class name for them are. So now that I've done that, it changed it to a couple of tickets, and then we have our events. If we click on this, we can see that we don't have any events found. That's because we have not added any. So let's go to our custom fields, and we're going to add a couple of fields that our admin can create in order to add some custom fields like the event date, the start time, the ticket cost, things like that. So we're going to navigate to custom fields and field groups, click add new. We're going to call this event fields. All right, underneath the location, show this field group if. So this basically allows us to make it so that these fields are shown based on these conditions underneath of the location. So our post type, which is what we are, we made a new post type called events. So we want this to show on the post type if it's equal to events. There's a lot of different functionality. If you wanted to add new fields for pages, you would just do post type is equal to page. Same thing with post if you want to add new fields for your blog or anything like that. There's a lot of different options down here. So basically for post templates, categories and things like that, you can add new fields for your categories. And then of course you have your users and forums and things like that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, and you can add multiple groups. You can add multiple rule groups. Yes, you will be able to watch this back on the channel. So underneath of these settings, active means that this is basically turned on. We can turn it off if we want to. The style means that it's going to be shown as normal, and I'll show you what this will look like once we're done. Position. So do you want to show these content fields after the title and between the editor, or do you want to show it after the editor where you normally type in all of your content? And then there's always the option to do the side if you want to show it on the side. Now, if you want to show it on the side, there's a couple different things. Like if you're adding checkboxes or things like that, it might be easier to show those on the side as opposed to after the content. Label placement, pretty self-explanatory. If you want it to be top aligned or left aligned, instructions below the labels, and then of course you have your order number. So if you have multiple field groups for one post type, then you can assign them an order, and the ones with a lower order will appear first. So 0 will appear first if you go to, as opposed to label number 5. And then of course we have all of these options. If you want to hide on screen, you can hide the content editor. You can hide the slug, the revisions, comments. You can hide all of these options that you normally see in your post types. So let's publish this real quick, and then we're going to add some fields. Let's add a new field, and we're going to call this the event date. Let's do start date. I'm going to hit tab, and it's automatically going to fill in this field name for me. Usually it's the field label, all lowercase with an underscore in between where there's spaces. The field type, we have a bunch of different options. Now remember, since we're using advanced custom fields free, there will be some limited options for what you can use. Like there's no gallery options or anything like that. So for this one, we're going to go underneath of the jQuery and pick date picker, because I want to be able to have them pick a date. You can make this required or not, and then instructions for the admin to be able to follow. Then we have the display format and the return format. So basically it's going to display it on the front end, when you're editing the post. And then in the functions file, this is what it's going to look like. So basically I set them both to be the pretty look, but you can have it be whatever you want. And then you can also return it as a custom format if you need to on both of these, depending on how your database looks at the dates. The week starts on Sunday for me. Conditional logic allows you to do specific things. So if you can show this field, I don't have any other fields right now, but you can show this field based on other options that you have for fields. So if you have a checkbox above it, you can make it so that you can show this field if that checkbox is selected or something along those lines. And then you can add multiple ones as well. And then you have the classes, IDs that you can add to it, specific widths, all of those different options. Let's close this, and we're going to add a new field called end date. We're going to do the same by choosing the date picker. We're going to make this the same here, and then we're going to close that. We're going to add another new field, and this one's going to be called location. I think location is a pro field to do Google Map. There we go. So there's a couple of different options we can do with this. We can either use a text field, and then the user can just type in the address, whatever you want it to do. The user could just type in the address and have the full address typed in text, which may be the easiest option for you guys. Now the other option is to use the Google Map jQuery option. If you're going to do that, there's some code that you're going to need to add to your theme option, your theme functions file, so that it can actually pull your API key for your Google Maps and things like that. And we can get into that in just a bit. But for now, I'm just going to stick with a text box. All right, and then you can have a placeholder text, a default value. So the default value appears when you create the new post. Placeholder text, and you can do prepend and append, meaning it's going to come before and after the input. And then you can actually have a character limit if you want to. We also have the same conditional logic in the wrapper attributes. Another field we're going to need for events is going to be the time. Now, time's always a tricky thing when showing it on a site, because sometimes it doesn't have an end time, and sometimes they do have an end time. So there's a couple different options you can do for this. You can do event time, and you can make it a text field. And then for the default value or the placeholder text, you can just simply put something along those lines so they know, what format to follow. That way they can put the start time and the end time such as this. Now, if you want to be able to do it differently, you can always do start time here, and you can have them have the format as such here. And then you can choose, let's see, the time picker right here, if you want them to be able to have like that fancy scroll down or anything like that, like always formatted the certain way, and they can just use that scroll wheel to pick a date and time on their computer or on the phone. So you can either use text field or time picker. It's really going to depend on what you guys are more comfortable with for that. A lot of times I just do a text field, not text area, a text field. I'll just have it like this, just because it's a lot easier to do that. Let's do another one called end time. We're going to make this a text field and keep everything the same, just the way it was. And then we should have a price field so people know how much it's going to cost. Just do a regular text field, in my opinion. We're going to go ahead and close that. And then maybe we want people to have a link for more information. So there's a couple different ways we can do something along the lines of this. The more information will be a button is what we're going to do. Basically, we'll create the button in Elementor, and then we will dynamically add whatever link it's going to be using this field. More information link. We'll take the text, and we'll go ahead and click on the URL underneath of basic. Now, there's a different way that you can do this, but we'll just kind of stick with this for right now. If you want the button text to be dynamic, so if you don't want it to always say more information or whatever you're going to design it as, we can make another field called button text for more information. We'll make this a text field and we'll automatically pull that in later. And now some of this may not make sense to you right now, but I promise you it will make sense once we actually start designing, and you're gonna be amazed. Rudy says, I know when it comes to editing the WooCommerce cart or WooCommerce checkout, it can be tricky. In the cart page or checkout page, is there a way to add additional pricing? I don't think that would be post type or custom field related. That's probably something completely different that you're trying to achieve there. All right, so we've got our basic ones here: start, end date, location, start, end time, price, and then our more information buttons. Let's update this. And let's go to our events, and we're going to add a new one. From here we have our title. We have the content information block. Then we have our event fields that you can see right here. We have our end date, location, start time, end time, price, button text, more information, like things like that. I think we're missing one. Hold on. Let's find out where that start date went. Our start date disappeared. And then something else. Well, let's delete this and we'll add a new one. Start date, date picker, and we'll move this towards the top. Let's go back and edit this new post type. Okay, now we've got it back. For some reason it just disappeared. So let's add a title. YouTube live video. Let's do a start date of today. It's going to end, let's say, tomorrow. We have the location. Let's type in any address here. That's the start time. I think that's the start time, John. Let's grab an address from New York. Real quick. Let's just do New York, New York. Start time, let's do 12 p.m. And then the end time, we're going to do 2 p.m. Price is going to be $30. This is the button text for more information. So I wanted to say, let's show you more, or click here to learn more. Let's do that. That'll be better. And then for the more information link, I'm just going to copy and paste my Google search results for New York. Over here on the right hand side, we have that featured image that we discussed. So let's grab an image of New York. I am off screen right now, but let's grab an image from New York. Let's save this, and we're going to set this as a featured image right here, and click select. So we've got our featured image, we've got our title, and we have all of our event fields. Let's click publish. All right, let's view our beautiful event. There we go. We have the featured image and we have the title, but wait, we don't have any of the custom fields. Well, that's because we have not set up a template for this yet. So let's set up a template so that we can actually show all of our custom fields on the front end to all of our website users. Underneath of templates for Elementor, we're going to go to Theme Builder, create a new template. For the type, we're going to choose a single. For the post type, choose event, or whichever one you created. And I'm going to name this single event and create template. Let's get rid of this. So here is our blank canvas. We can do whatever we want to do with this. Now remember the information that we have. We have our start and end date, location, start and end time, price, and then our button for more information. So let's create something that shows all of that information. I'm going to add a new section, 2 columns. Going to add an image. Now you can use the featured image, but I still like to just use the basic image right here. Click and drag that right into there. Underneath of the choose image, we have the place where we can add a static image, but we want it to be dynamic. So we're going to choose this dynamic with the icon right next to it. And we have all of these different options. So we have ACF image field, author profile, shortcode, site logo, and then a post featured image, which is what we're going to need. So we've automatically pulled in this post featured image based on this. Now if we click on this little wrench, it gives us another option, which is a fallback image. For some reason, if a post does not have a featured image, it will use this fallback image for whatever reason. If it doesn't have the image, it'll just use this image that you put on there. So that's always a nifty tool. If somebody forgets to upload a featured image, there's not just going to be a blank section right there. We have all of our same settings. We can do the full. We have all of our alignment, captions, links, everything that you have normally with your image. It's all right here for you. Let's add our post title. So we have the post title right here. Click and drag that right into it. And then we have our post title being pulled up right there. We have all of our different options to center, right, left align, choose our HTML tag, whatever we want it to be, size, style, all of those different options. So we have a bunch of different options that we could choose for us to design this page, and everything's being pulled in dynamically. Let's do another field. So right now we have other fields such as the start and end date, location, start end time, price, things like that. So let's design this some more. Let's do a share button. I want to be able to share this with anyone who wants to see it. So let's do this. Icon only. We want this to be minimal. We want the style. We want the icon size to be a little bit smaller. And then we want the padding to be a little bit smaller. Right there. So we have the way for us to share this. This is just going to appear there. It doesn't always have to be a dynamic element, such as a post title or a featured image. It can be static content like a share button so that people can actually share your event. It's just always a great thing to be able to add. Let's do a text field. Text field is what you're most likely going to use in order to add all of your other fields, such as your start dates, your end times, things like that. So underneath of here, we have all of our text, but we're going to click on that magic dynamic button again. Scroll all the way to the bottom because we're using ACF. If you're using toolset or pods, that would appear here instead. So we have the ACF field. Now once we click that, we click on this wrench again, and the key is what we're looking for. So the key will show all of the different fields that we put in right here. If we want to show our start date, we just click on the start date, and it's going to automatically appear right there. Same thing with the end date, location, all of the things that we want will just appear right here. So let's do that. We have the start date, and then of course we have the advanced section where we can put text before, after, and fallback text. So we want to do start date right here, so that way it's going to show beforehand. And then if we wanted to do an after text, we can put that so it shows after. Let's do after text, just to show you guys what it looks like. So you've got that option to do that as well. We'll get rid of that. And then the fallback text, you can have it be whatever you want it to be. So this could be, you know, if you want to put like an error code or something so you can get fancy, but we don't have to do any of that right now. So we have that ability. We can style this however we want. Make this black, make this green, blue, whatever you guys wanted to do. Style that, Choose a different size if you want it to be bigger. Let's make that 15. And then we have all those different options. Now I know this is in the wrong format. It's because when I added the new one, I didn't choose. I think I didn't choose it. Yeah, here we go. February. Update. Well, this will update once we refresh, so no worries there. Let's duplicate this, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to choose end date and change the before text to be end. It's a little bit too far from each other because it's got that automatic padding that we all love. So I'm just going to put some negative padding right here for us. Negative 20 seems to be fine. So we've got that ability there. Let's do our time. Let's add a new title, text editor. And we've got the dynamic. Go to ACF field. And then we have our start time. We could do the same thing. Duplicate this. And we can do our end time. Now, for me, I don't like to put my start and end time separately. What I normally like to do is put them together with that hyphen in the middle. So if you take a look at this page on ACF's website, you can actually take it and put your shortcode here instead of it being pulled in dynamically using Elementor. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to delete this. Get rid of the dynamic. Pull this down some. Go to the text option. And we're going to paste this in. And this is going to be start time. At least I believe that's what our thing is. Start time. Yep, start underscore time. And then we have the end time. So let's do that. And then we're going to add the space with the hyphen and another space. Paste in that same shortcode, but change this to end time. Now, once we click off of it, we can see that we have those times being pulled in dynamically right there. So we can go in, edit this, style this color, make it come up some, and then we can make it bigger if we need to. So let's make this 18 instead. If you want to add that precursor beforehand, like we did with the start date and end date, you can just add it right here in the text. So this is going to be event time space. And then once you do that, you have all that information there. Let's see. So we've got that there. Start date, end date, event time. All of that information right there for us to see. All right. Let's go to the next one where we have our price and our button text that we want to add. So we want everyone to know the price of this event. All right, this event, we're going to add a new text box. Click on dynamic, go down to ACF field, and we're going to click on price. It's going to bring in that 30 automatically. Now I want to show a dollar sign before that. So I'm going to click on before and do the dollar sign. And then after, I want to show the decimals as well, just because it looks a little bit more styled when you have those decimals. Let's make this pretty big at 25. I want to click and drag this right up here so everyone knows the fee. And I may want to even add underneath of the advance before the dollar sign fee with that space. So it automatically will put the fee with the space in the colon with the dollar sign there automatically for us, which is always great to be able to do. And since it has to do with money, let's make that green. So we have all of this here that's being pulled in dynamically. Let's do that button one more time for the button right there. We're going to add a new button. Let's add it underneath of the image. I want to make this full width. Now, you see underneath of the button options, we have the text and the link. We have dynamic options for both of these, which is great. So we're going to click on the dynamic ACF field and then go down to button text for more information. Now you notice when we did this, we don't have that link. The link field that we created does not show up, and I'll tell you why. This is a text field, not a link field, and Elementor can automatically detect this because it's talking with ACF, knowing, hey, this is a link field, so don't put this in the text. Underneath dynamic for the link, we'll choose the ACF URL field, and then we'll make it so that this will show the more information link right here. Once we click that, it'll have that link right there for us. And if you see at the bottom of my screen, you'll see that link is automatically being pulled in right there, and then we have the text automatically being pulled in right here. Let's design this up a little bit. Alright, we have this design here for us to add. Let's add some margins to the top and bottom of this section, just so we have that. And then we have our single event. Oh, we have our single event designed right here. Let's publish this real quick. Where do you want to display your single? So we want this to be displayed for events and for all events. Now, if you want it to be a different condition, you can do events by author, and then you have all of your different conditions that you can add right here. Save and close at the bottom. So it's automatically done. Let's view our event. We're going to go to all of our events. We have the YouTube live video. Let's click view. And we have everything being pulled in automatically right here. Now let's create a new event so that we can see what something else would look like if we're, trying to do something with different information. Let's do another event title. Let's do start date. End date's going to be the same. Location's going to be let's do Houston, Texas. Start time 1 p.m. I'm going to make it a little bit of a shorter format this time, just so you guys can get an idea of that. Let's do $50. Button text is click me. And then the more information link, we'll make it go to the advanced custom fields pricing page. Set a featured image. Let's add a new featured image here, and we're going to make this a little bit of a different one. Save image as. I'm doing this off screen, and we'll upload that right here. And then we can click publish. So we have all of our event fields filled out. We have the title filled out here, and then we can click publish. Let's view the event. So we have another event title here. We have the image that we clicked on. The start and end date's the same, and then we have that short event time format. The feed has been updated, and then even the button text is completely separate from the other one that we had, because we added that dynamic text box. Now, if you wanted to always say more information or a registration link, because you're going to have that consistency with your events, you can always just design the button so that instead of it being pulled in dynamically, you could just say registration link. That's always possible. And if you update that, it's going to update across the entire custom post type so that you have the registration link right here. So we have our single page for this. Now let's go and add a map. Click on the 9 dots. We're going to search for map. Go to Google Maps down here, and we're going to click and drag that right into it. As you can see, we have that same dynamic option. Click on dynamic, ACF field, and we're going to choose location. There we go. We have that location being pulled in right here. And then we can choose the zoom. And we have the option to choose height. Let's update this. And refresh. And we can see that we have that Houston section right there. Let's go to the other event that we created for the YouTube live video and view that. And then we can see that we have that New York one right here. So everything's being pulled in dynamically. You don't have to worry about creating a new page every single time that you create a new post. And everything's just going to take in from this template that you have and get creative with the template. Um, I'll show you a site that I recently created, the ability to have events, and it's all done with custom post types. So we have this right here. We have a calendar that automatically pulls in the custom post type events, and this is using the Jet Engine plugin from Crockablock. Click on the event, and this is the custom post type that I've designed. So this is exactly what this is, but just designed a little bit better, and it's got different fields and things like that. So we have the post title here. We have the ability to share the event, because I believe sharing is very important when it comes to the website. You want to be able to share events very easily. We have that more information button, but for this one, it always will say more information. If you look at the bottom of the website, it's got the PDF that automatically gets pulled in there. We have the event date and the event time automatically being pulled in, and this is used in the icon widget. So if we have the icon box right here, you can see that under the title and description, and the title right here and the description right here, it both has that dynamic. So we can always just pull it in dynamically and make it look really nice with those dynamic functions being able to pull that in. This is automatically being pulled in. This is just the post content. So inside that editor, we have this, and then it has the map that's automatically being pulled in. Now for this particular case, it's always going to be at this location because that's their restaurant. But if they have an offsite event, then that's where, you know, we would be able to change that up and put that in there. So this is just a little bit of a design, a little bit of a whatever you call it, the motivation for design that you guys can come up with. It doesn't have to always be next to each other. This background right here is not a dynamic image, but it can be. Usually when you do dynamic images and you have something like this, it's always hard because, you know, it doesn't look right or it's cutting off something. So I just made this be a static image. But everything else is being pulled in dynamically. The event time, the event date. So get creative with it, and you'll be able to add whatever you need to add to the page template. So let's try something a little bit different. Does anybody have any ideas of what you may want to do with your custom post types? Like you want to create a directory site, or if you want to create a real estate site. Basically, it's all about pulling in different fields. So let's do another post type. We're gonna call this one home. This one's gonna be homes, and this one's gonna be home. I'm just gonna click add post type. So we have our homes over here on the left hand side. Let's create a new custom field group. This one's gonna be home fields. Now I've done something similar to this, and let's assign this to home right here and hit publish. I've done something similar to a real estate site before. So it's really just all about adding different fields to your site. And let me actually turn this site back on, and then I'll show you exactly what I did for this one, just so you guys can have this. It's using the same exact plugins, custom post type, and advanced custom fields. So let's show you this. So on the left hand side we have that listings. Instead of homes, I called it listings. We have our title. So this is our listing address. So the title, for real estate homes, you would really put the title, the address as the title, just so it's a little bit more consistent. We have the gallery. So this is using Advanced Custom Fields Pro. It allows us to add a gallery. We can add to the gallery using this button, and then we can add more pictures if we need to. Underneath we have the listing price, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms. So I went crazy with adding the amount of information that's going to be shown on this listing. I would suggest, if you're going to create a real estate website, to go to a couple websites, see what information they're presenting to the customers, and then basically just add that to your site. Number of half baths, square footage, number of acres, the year built, the address, and you can even do some fun stuff with doing the status of the listing, active, new, sold, things like that. Over here on the right hand side, we have the featured image, which is the main image of the house that we're going to have. House types, we have bungalow, colonial, rambler, whatever house types you come across, they would just be able to add new ones as needed. And I misspelled house right there before. So let's view this listing. So we have this main featured image being pulled in as the background. And like I said, this is good, this is bad, because this is, you're cutting off some of the house, so it's always difficult to do something like this. We have all of the information, so the bedrooms being pulled up, the bathrooms, the square footage, everything is automatically being pulled in dynamically. We have the gallery automatically being pulled in. Like I said, I'm using Advanced Custom Fields Pro, so we have the gallery being pulled in automatically. Then we have the address that's going to be down here at the bottom. And I'll show you guys exactly how I did this. We're going to edit the listing. All right, let that come up. We have the featured image. So if I go to this background, click on style, you can see that the image is being pulled in as the featured image right there. We have the post title with some styling here. Then we have the listing price being pulled in automatically. And then I have that $sign before it so that can show, it's a dollar amount there. Underneath of here, we have some custom image boxes. So the image boxes here, it's always going to be bedrooms for the title, and then we have the number of bedrooms being pulled in here. We could choose it to be whatever we want. We have full baths. The square footage is automatically being pulled in. So all of this is, like I said, it's being dynamically pulled in using just Advanced Custom Fields. And then we have the gallery. The gallery is actually just a regular image gallery using Elementor Pro. And then we have it just pulling in the gallery using the Advanced Custom Field gallery field. I'm making it go to a light box right here. We have the columns. You can change the amount of columns that you want it to go to, change the size of them. So if you want them to be larger, you can do that so that they have more resolution there. And of course, we have the maps as well being pulled in automatically by the listing address. Listing address right here. The status, like I said before, we had that status just to show if it's sold or if it's pending, things like that. We have the status of the listing. So it's basically just creating all the fields necessary and then styling it however you need it to be styled on the front end of the site. This bookmark thing is just a third-party plugin to where people can bookmark this listing if they want to. This was for a client that has hired me to do a real estate site. So, and then we have the more about this property as well. This is using Elementor's form, name, email, message, the submit button, and of course we have this share this property right here. Let me refresh because I've made a couple changes. Elementor was supposed to fix a bug. Right here it is. So with real estate listings, you can even get more advanced using the Elementor forms. So underneath of the message, underneath of advanced, I have the default value going to the listing address. Because when somebody submits this, it's going to include this information, and it's dynamic for every listing. So it's going to say, I am interested in more information about, and it's going to insert the address of that property in there. So this is just a dynamic contact form that you only have to have one version of it on the site, and it allows you to pull in the address automatically. And then the way I got the I am interested in more was using that before tag right here. I am interested in learning more information about. Then I put a period after. So it's just an Elementor Pro form. I'm using the advanced with the default value. and it's automatically pulling in that address for me so that it can send it to the realtor, and it lets them know what address that they're looking for. This is a fully functioning real estate site that has all the information that you need with the gallery, a contact field per listing, being able to share the property, and having the address in a big field down here. There's a lot more that you can add to this. Like I said, all you have to do is just add more fields. The fields are key. So as long as you added all of the fields here, they will show up on the front end using this dynamic button right here. If you're using ACF free, but you just have to have Elementor Pro in order to do the dynamic options. Once you've got that installed, then you're good to go. Does anybody have any questions so far? Is anybody completely lost and just need help? Just ask away. Just let me know what you guys are thinking. That way I can get to you guys and I can be able to help you guys along so you guys can learn more and use this to help your clients out. Just let me know. I'm going to back out of here for a second. There's a lot of other plugins too, such as Anywhere Elementor Pro, that allows you to do repeaters, things like that. If you want to get really fancy when you get into that, building a directory theme as well is very easy to use. If you want to do directories, like where you want to list a bunch of locations, or if you want to list a bunch of businesses, things like that. It's all about just adding different fields. So, for example, let's do business fields here. We're going to update this. And then we just add a field. So we already have the post title, which is going to be the business name. We'll need their location. So the business address. We're going to need maybe their social media profiles. Now we can't do that too much without a repeater, because we want to be able to add multiple social media profiles, but we can also do things like their email address. All right, you've got that email field right here. Let's collapse these so it's easier to see. Add field, we have the website. Go down here to URL. What other information we could do? The text field, we could do a description about them, but that's automatically in the WordPress editor that we have, so we don't really have to worry about that too much. So let's delete this, and then we'll update this. We can add a new custom post type right here. Let's add one right now. This one's going to be called business, businesses, business. Go to our custom fields. Make sure you always assign it to that post type. If you don't, it's not going to show up, and you're going to be frustrated wondering why is it not showing up. We can also add, no, never mind. Yeah, so we'll go to businesses. We'll add a new business. Add the business title there. We have a description if we want to add a description. Let's just quickly add some content. And then we have the address. We have our email address. And then our website. And then we have the featured image if we want to add a featured image. Let's do that real quick, and then we'll hit publish. From there, we can go to our templates, go to our theme builder, go to single. We can add a new single business. Choose business for the single, select post type, single business. And from here, we're just going to be adding all those fields again. So we have our logo, which we can use the image, dynamic, featured image, post title. We have a bunch of different options that we have with this. We can even do it like the normal style and have the style of the background. Click on classic. For the image, we're going to click dynamic and featured image. We're going to make this minimum height of 400. From there, we can put the post title here. Let's make this white. Adjust this content position to the bottom. Now we're looking like a real directory right here. And then we have all of our information that we're going to do over here. So let's add a new section to the right. We're going to add our post content over here on the left. We have the text editor with dynamic. We can choose on ACF field. And then we have the business fields and event fields. So we're going to choose address for that. Let's duplicate this. And we're going to do another one for email address. And then we can always style the button so that they can visit our website. Visit my website. Choose dynamic for the link. Go down ACF URL field. And we're going to choose website. So we have all of our information right here. Let's style it up just a little bit. Just like so. If we want to put a map instead of having the address right there, we just add in a Google Maps widget. Click on the dynamic ACF field. And then we have the address. Sorry, I was looking for location. So we have that right there. And then we basically have a fully functioning directory right here, just as it is. We can make this a little bit easier to see by adding a background overlay, making that black. Change the opacity down just a little bit so we have something along those lines. Add some padding to the bottom so it's up a little bit. And then we have our logo, which we can add our image here. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Make that over here. So we can have the logo being in the background and we can have the logo being over here. You can create a new field for an image called cover photo. And we can make it so that we have the cover photo back here like a Facebook thing, and then we have the company logo over here. Or you can even make the company logo over here. Style it up a little bit differently. Make it left aligned. Especially if you upload a square, you can always make it so that you have the border radius, so that it's got that circle around it. Add a border if you want to. There's a lot that you can do with this, especially if you're constraining, the width and things like that of the upload for that. A lot of different options there. We can add a little bit of padding above and beyond, or margin above and beyond, just so it's not so close. But basically, for the most part, you have a complete directory right here with everything that you need. Icon only. Let's do this as minimal. Let's take off the style. Do custom color. Primary color white. Secondary color black. Change this button size. And then we have, like I said, a fully functioning directory. Publish this for all the businesses. We'll click Save and Close. We'll go back to our businesses over here. We'll click View, and then we have this business right here. Let me catch up with comments. Could you please start the real estate site all over? Is it possible to style the gallery like having one huge image on top with thumbnails of the remaining images below it? I have not figured out a way to do that, but that would be really awesome if I could. The thing is, pulling it in is always difficult, and sizing it differently. You may be able to target it with some CSS to make the first one big and then the rest of them small. So for example, if we target this and have, you know how you have the data, the source, things like that, the image gallery, we can target this by doing the first child of it. And this is getting pretty advanced by using some pseudos. No, nth child. Yeah, there is a way you could do it with some CSS, but it's always going to be finicky using CSS. But natively, no, there's really not a way to do that. The real estate site over. So what did you want in particular to start over from? Let's update this. Let's go to the dashboard. Basically, the custom post type UI, I have it called listings right here. Just like normal, we're just setting up a post type right here. Under custom fields, we have listing groups. Then we have all of our different custom fields right here. Keep in mind, I'm using Advanced Custom Fields Pro because I needed the gallery option. So underneath of here, I made a new one called gallery. The field type is called gallery. We did listing price as a text field. Everything is a text field. And then we did year built, listing address, status of the listing is a radio button. So we have active, new, and sold. And if this looks confusing, all you have to do is just follow the instructions over here on the left-hand side. A lot of us ignore this, but it's important. If you read this, it actually tells you what to do and what to type. So we have those options, and then you have a default value as well there if you want to do a default one. So basically I created all of my custom fields right here. Now once I was done there, I edited my single listing and I just started adding sections. So this is just a regular section. Underneath of style, I'm just pulling in that featured image. Alright, underneath the layout, content position is the bottom, because if I choose middle, it's going to be up at the top. So I chose bottom. And right here I have a spacer just to get the height that I need. And then, so this is a post title, nothing fancy. Style, I just made it white. For the price, I just added a regular text field, use dynamic, and choose the listing price. And for advanced, I just did the before, I just put the $sign in there. Added a new section down here with some margin, top and bottom. And I just used image boxes right here with custom images. Typed in the title, so the style, did the post terms, so it actually pulled in the category for it. So I just pulled in the post terms, taxonomy, house types. That's all that there was for that. For the rest of them, I just typed in bedrooms for the title, full baths for the title. ACF field, I did the number of bathrooms, so I just chose whichever one I wanted. If I chose year built, it would display the year built right there. but I chose number of bedrooms because that's what that's going to be for. Full baths did the same thing. Square footage, the status, everything is just right there as needed. I added another section down here, put a title in called gallery, added an image gallery, so I just went and typed in image, pulled in this gallery right here. Instead of selecting add images, I just clicked on dynamic and clicked on the ACF gallery field. Alright, it's going to automatically pull in all the images there. Over here I just styled this a little bit, added some background color, added some padding around it, put a heading, and this is just a form from Elementor Pro. I just need their name, email, and then the message. The message, I clicked on the advanced and I made the default value the listing address, and I used that before sudo to just put I am interested in the more information about. So I just added all that, and so when they click send, it's going to automatically send the realtor this message and be able to request more information about that. Then from there, the realtor can reply back and set up a meeting time and all that. Share the property is just a title, and then from here we have the share buttons, and I just kept them as they are, just turned them into an icon only. And then we just added another section with the map. So we have the listing field address right there. So it's all about being able to add the fields, figuring out which fields you want to add, and then just selecting the element, adding it to the page, clicking that dynamic option, and just selecting the custom field that you want to add to it. More live streams. Yeah, definitely more live streams will come in the future. Thank you very much for everything. Yeah, ACF Pro, completely worth the $100 investment. I mean, you can use it for everything. Real estate sites. I mean, if you're a web developer and you want to ramp up your game and start being able to charge people more, having ACF Pro is going to be able to help you do that. It's going to cost you nothing. It's going to be paid for by your first client, basically. And then from there, you can create directory sites. You can create real estate sites, and people pay money for directory sites. People pay money for real estate sites. Being able to make it easier for your clients to update content without having to go into Elementor, that's also something that's a huge thing. So definitely worth the investment to do ACF Pro and Elementor Pro. You can still use the gallery if you are using a gallery element that offers those customizations such as ultimate add-ons, Elementor, or Check Gallery. Yeah, so there's a lot of different plugins out there that offer that dynamic option, such as Jet Gallery. We have the Jet Elements. We have ultimate add-ons for Elementor, which is awesome. There's so many out there. There's too many out there for you guys to choose from. My go-to are Crock-a-Block and Ultimate Add-ons. I purchased the lifetime for both of those, and that's also a great investment for your web company, because a lot of those offer the functionality to do the dynamic options. So I know that Jet Elements has a weather widget, and it will pull from an address. So all you have to do is just have the address field just like you have it here, and it can tell you that the weather at this listing for whatever reason you may want it. So there's just a lot of different functionality to do with this dynamic. Now there are other options out there like Toolset. You can use pods, advanced custom fields. Those are all completely possible to do. I recently did a site with Toolset only because I needed the functionality that Toolset has, and they have a little bit more built-in functionality because you can actually create archives and loops and things like that to display all of your post types. So that's also something that you may want to look into. So for example, with this, and this is out of the scope of the video, just showing you guys, but this dashboard is completely created with Elementor and Toolset. All of this stuff on the left hand side is Elementor. All of this over here is Elementor. And then where you see these boxes and the no files and this category found, that's all done with Toolset. So this is a way for people to be able to upload documents to the website, things like that, underneath of the submit documents form. So it's just, it depends on what you want to do with your site. And I'll be doing a video on something like this later on in the future because a lot of people have requested something along these lines for a video. So, does anybody have any more questions about maybe, you know, the functionality of advanced custom fields or anything along those lines? Like I said, this is a very minimal business directories page right here, but once you get into details and you purchased ACF Pro, you can do those repeaters and allow people to put their social media links over here, so they could just click add new, and it will do that. You can do it with the free version. It'll just take a little bit more setup to do so, but for the most part, like I said, ACF Pro is completely worth the investment. They're not a sponsor or anything like that. I just love their product and everything that they create. Just makes it so much easier for developers and non-developers to use their plugin to create more complex sites. Let's see. I'll wait a little bit to see if anybody else has any questions. So basically repeater fields, and I'm going to show you a site that I did that has a good example of repeater fields. So let me log in real quick to the site. Repeater fields are basically something that's going to be that you're going to have multiples of for one post type for the most part. So underneath of this site, this is a funeral home website that I've recently launched, and they have something called Service Flare. And basically it's just the logos of, if they were military, they put their military logos on there. If they were a big football fan, we have those options on there as well. So let me show you what it looks like. And for this site, I used custom post types and custom fields. So underneath of the custom fields, we have the service fields, because that's what we call them. Underneath here, we have a service flare, which is called a repeater. Underneath of here, now this is where it can get difficult. We just name it whatever it is. So this is the overall name. So if you wanted to add multiple social media links that they can add, this would be called social media. Underneath of the subfields, they would be called links. And if we edit this, it allows us to put our choices in right here. So right now, these are the options that we have for this site. But for you, it would basically be a Facebook logo, and then it would be a Facebook. And then you could put Twitter, things like that. So it would look something similar to this. Facebook image here. So it's going to be a direct link to your Facebook image. And then this one's going to just say Facebook. And then you're going to continue on for each social media that you want them to be able to add. All right, so we've got Twitter. Then we have Instagram, things like that. So they'll be able to add all of those options right there. All right, so from there, let's go to, so basically what this means, the left-hand side is going to be what's displayed. The right-hand side is just a text so they know what they're adding. It's not going to show on the front end. But the left-hand side is going to be what is displayed on the front end. And that's all configured down here. So the return format, you want it to return the value. The label is what you're going to be typing in: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The value is going to be the image URL. So it's going to display the image, because you want to display the social media links. So you have that. And sorry if I'm butchering this, but this is the best way that I can explain it. Let's go to the service schedule. Let's go to this one, and we're going to edit one of these. This site is a little bit more advanced. I'm using some custom code and some ACF fields in order to pull it in, but for the most part, you're going to be able to see everything that I'm doing with this site. It looks pretty bad on the back end, but on the front end it looks much better. So we have our basic sections. We have our post title. We have a heading, and I'm just pulling in the post title. Right here, I'm doing what I showed you earlier. So the service's birthday, service's death date right there. Another share buttons. Gotta have those share buttons. Left hand side, I'm pulling in the featured image like we showed before. The featured image is just the image of the person. On the right hand side, I'm pulling in the obituary listing. Now I'm doing this using Elementor Extras, which is a third-party plugin, and this widget allows you to hide a bunch of text and click on this to read more, so you're not seeing the entire listing right there, which is handy. And so, like I was saying earlier, a lot of third-party widgets have this dynamic, so be sure to check that out. Right here is the service flare. Okay, and now I'm doing this using Anywhere Elementor Pro because Elementor does not have this built in yet. So let me go to how I'm doing this. And like I said, this is a little bit out of the scope, so sorry if I'm butchering this a little bit. Let's wait for this to load. Shay, no worries. It's definitely going to be available for replay. All right. So with this, with Anywhere Elementor Pro, it's a completely whole other ball game. Basically, what I did was I added a custom field, and then I brought in the flare because that's what it's called. It's called flare right here. And for you, it would be called links if you're doing social media. I want this to be an image because it's going to automatically pull in that image. And then I just designed it a little bit. So I wanted it to be center aligned always. I made it a certain width and size, things like that from there. But automatically it's just going to pull that in. And then from there, let's see where I am. Anywhere Elementor Pro has that ACF repeater. So you just click and drag this right in. Select the one that you just made. And then the field, you have to have the field available. So this is going to be the top level. So this is what would be called social media. So we have social media is what it was going to be called, and links down here. This would be considered the social media one. And then this is what you created called links. I'm horrible at explaining this, I guess. So let me know if I'm doing justice to this. Now and I'll show you exactly what it looks like when you're adding a post too. So now this is just displaying everything. So if I go to one of the services, let's go to an older one right here. So we're going to view this service. And you can see right here, this is where the repeater would go. But right now, there's not anything assigned to this one. So let's edit this one right here. And we have, like I said, and also with the Advanced Custom Fields Pro, we can do tabs instead of having it all down like, where is it? Here it is. You see how it's all down here on the below it? We can also put it in tabs too if you have a lot and if you want to group things together. So it's under their vitals. We have the service flare and we would have add flare. So yours would say social media links and then it would be called add links. This would be called links. We would select them here. So these would say Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that would be right here. And so we click on one. We can add another one if we want. Let's do this one. Add another one if we want. Alright, so now that we have the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram here, we would click update. Let's see if this works. Yeah, see, it keeps doing that because for some reason it keeps defaulting back, and I've had to do this multiple times with this website. So, and I've already searched and replaced everything multiple times with this site. So let me do this one more time. It's like every time I do it, I got to do it again. So, pardon the interruption while I do the search and replace real quick. But basically, each of these three are images. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to fix this real quick. Yeah, it's weird that because I've continued to do a search and replace for the site, and it continues to not do it. Let's see. We're going to search and replace this, and if you need a video on how to do a search and replace, I have one on this channel. It's towards the beginning of the channel, so if you are wondering on how to do a search and replace, it's down there for you. All right, let's refresh this. There we go. So we have those three here. So it would be displayed Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you want to have it. Hey Carlos, whatever you want to have it. You can control the size of the images, things like that, and everything would show up wherever you put it. So for example, if you want it over here, that's where you would add it, and it would just show up just like this. And of course you can add links and things like that to it as well if you want to. So in a nutshell, John, that's what repeater fields can do for you. I hope I explained that in a way that everyone can pretty much understand. Let's remove all of this. Does anybody have any more questions when it comes to... Well, hopefully you didn't watch it while driving. But it's going to be available for replay after once we conclude. It'll be available for replay afterwards. So yeah, definitely if you're ready for it, go invest in Elementor Pro if you haven't done so yet, and especially advanced custom fields, because that's just the key. Being able to enhance your websites even further, expand them to be basically anything that you need them to be, and it's very easy and it's very inexpensive to do so. And on the plus side, you can start charging more for websites if you're not already doing so. I'll wait around a little bit, see if anybody has any additional questions. Definitely get them in now because I'm available and you guys can get live answers while I'm working on this. So let's see, close out of a couple tabs while I'm waiting. Yep. And if anyone's wondering what I'm using to do a local site, this is Local Sites by Flywheel. So I've got all of this here. It's completely free to create a new site if you want to do that. Allows you to create sites on your computer. You can work on them offline. You can do live links if you want to share them with your client. So this is just a way for you to develop it if you don't have maybe like a development server or anything like that. That's something you may want to look into doing. Carlos looking at your comment now. Yeah, there are a lot of YouTube tutorials. Well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the video once you watch it. Everything is pretty self-explanatory once you get up and running. Once you add your fields, You can see all of the different things that you can pull in. And then, of course, being able to design. Designing is always the hardest part. Take a look at other websites, other big websites. Like if you're adding an event custom post type, look at other big event websites like Eventbrite or something like that. Other event plugins to see how they're styling it. Try not to copy it, completely, one to one, but put your own spin on it. Um, that's what I did when it came to this website. I just wanted to put my own spin on it, make it look really nice and elegant. I just followed the theme of the website. So always just try a couple different variations. Um, I've never used pods before, so I can't speak for that. ACF, Jet Builder, and Toolset. They all have their own different functionalities. Jet Builder is great. I've used it once, and it's because it's included in Crockblock, which is always awesome. They have a couple different things, like they have the ability to do this calendar, which no one else has this for custom post types. It is almost impossible to create this type of calendar with any other plugin, not any events plugin like Modern Events or My Event one, but I give it to Jet Engine for being able to do a calendar like this. This is amazing. I will always use Jet Engine until a better solution comes along for a calendar like this. So that's one perk of that. Toolset has everything you need. You can create views, you can create loops, repeaters. They even have the ability for you to submit posts using a form builder that they have. You can even limit pages for access to certain people, certain members, and things like that. That is an all-in-one solution. If you're looking to go with that, I have that as well. I'm grandfathered into the old pricing that they had. I have the unlimited sites lifetime. Now they have these three prices right here. The Toolset Agency is the equivalent of what I have. You can unlimited websites, but it's only 1 year of updates. I purchased it when it was unlimited websites lifetime updates. So I guess I'm grandfathered into that. I won't be getting rid of that. But I would still say $300 a year if you're getting into if you're getting into it all. It's great. Otherwise, you can do the same thing with Gravity Forms. I believe Ninja and Cadera Forms. You can do the same thing. Advanced Custom Fields is free. Elementor Pro is cheap. Advanced Custom Fields Pro is cheap as well. And you can do all the same things. And then Anywhere Elementor, let's see, Anywhere Elementor Pro is also where you could do the repeaters and things like that. You can make custom archives, which is what Toolset will allow you to do. So if you want to purchase multiple plugins and have limited yearly cost, then I would say ACF, Elementor, Anywhere Elementor, and maybe like some kind of form plugin to do that. Otherwise, you may want to look into doing Toolset for the $300 a year. $300 a year is a lot, but it is a very great tool. Now, there is a big learning curve when it comes to Toolset, much bigger than ACF and Elementor. So I would say make sure that you've got some time, a weekend or two or a week to set aside and learn Toolset. There's a couple videos on this channel with Toolset using other themes and builders, but for the most part, it's all the same. I would encourage you to take a look at those first. And they have videos on their stuff as well, which is always great. And a lot of my videos are going to be out of date for the most part when it comes to Toolset, because it has been over a year or two, and there has been a lot of progress since it. So I would say watch the videos and take some time to just learn Toolset if you're going to purchase that. As of ACF and Elementor Pro, you can learn that in under an hour. An hour for this video. That's how long it took us to explain how to use it. ACF, same thing. So ACF Jet Builder type, my go-to would probably be ACF. If I need more advanced websites like that dashboard that I created earlier, I would say tool set for that. Carlos, I mentioned it earlier in this video, but it's local by Flywheel. Yeah, toolset is a little expensive. The ROE is, yeah, it can be expensive. Can I do customer input value from front end? I got data from back end form back end. If you're asking, can they submit information on the front end using a form and it creates a post? Then yes, you can do that. Toolset has a plugin you can do that, and if you're using ACF, then you're going to need something like Caldera Forms, Ninja Forms, or Gravity Forms in order to do that. Elementor Forms does not have that capability right now, and I'm saying that I don't know if they're going to add it or not. But I don't know if they're going to add that, but it's always an option. Hopefully down in the future. Gravity Forms is a little expensive. $259 per year is what I purchased. $259 for the first year, and then I think it's $99 every year after is what I'm grandfathered in. I think they rose the price on this as well, and it's absolutely absurdly expensive. But I use Gravity Forms on every single website, so that's something that you'll want to think about. They have the add-ons. Where is it? They have the add-ons here that allow you to do the custom post type here, advanced post creation. So what they call it. So being able to map custom fields to certain things, assign post to taxonomies, upload files, conditional logic. That's something you can think of. Caldera Forms is something that I haven't looked into a lot, but it's something that you may want to look into. The pricing for it is definitely cheaper, depending on which ones you get. But like right here, they have the Caldera custom fields is included in even the free version. So it's something that you may want to look into depending on your needs. And then the other one was Ninja Forms. All right, and the pricing for this is definitely cheaper for some things, and then they have the add-ons that you can add on right here depending on what it is. Front end posting is what you're looking for right here. From there, you can get the pricing you could pay per year, and it'll include this, or you can get that very cheap version and pay this price per year, I believe. So there is the capability. You can do it. It just depends on which custom fields plugin you're using. If you're going to be doing that a lot, it looks like it may be cheaper just to do toolset, but like I said, you do have that learning curve that you're going to have to get around in order to use that. Anybody have any additional questions? I'm here if you guys need them. There's also a video on the site on this channel that I did. I built a website in 2 hours. So if you take a look at my other live streams, I live streamed that and got feedback from people as they were watching on that. So build a website in 2 hours, and I'll probably do something similar for one of my next upcoming websites for going live and just showing you guys how to do that. Let's see. If we don't have any other questions, then I may be just signing off. You guys can always comment down below if you guys have any questions. I'm available on Facebook if you have any questions as well. I'm in a lot of the groups, Elementor, under the name Donald McGuinn. So if you have any questions, feel free to PM me. And then, of course, I'm always available if you guys have any questions. And then you can just comment down below if you need to. I read the comments pretty often, so sorry if I miss one. It might be just one of those days. Yeah. So thank you very much for coming and watching the live stream. I hope you guys learned a little bit, and I hope it wasn't too confusing for you guys. Everything seems to be pretty simple once you get going, you know. Once you've done this a couple times, you're just going to be doing this in your sleep. So, thank you very much, and I hope you guys enjoy your day.